I'm about to teach you how to start a clothing brand in a new way that no one has talked about on the internet yet, and I'm not gonna hold anything back. Why your brand name doesn't matter. You don't need to have products in hand at all, and how you can do this without zero ad spend. And no, you do not need to be a graphic designer, but more about that a little bit later. So naming your brand sounds important, but not nearly as important as making money. And if you're watching this video, my guess is that you're trying to grow your clothing brand, you're trying to make money. Because if a business doesn't make money, it's no longer able to be a business, they have to go do something else. So my job in this video, if I'm doing well, is showing you exactly how you can use and leverage this information to make you money. So when we first started our company, we actually started making money before we ever named it. We did a name randomizer and we didn't like any of them, but we're like, we just need to go and actually start making money. There was no website, there was no name of the company. We just literally said we need to go make money. Can we prove something? And so Project Yanti was created, and Project Yanti was literally just us serving business owners just like you guys. Now you might be saying,
well, I gotta have a website because I gotta have that to sell something. And
that may be true, but actually not necessarily. You just got to have some way to accept payments, which is via POS or point of sale. It could be Square, it doesn't matter, because you could actually sell in person. You could walk around and sell this stuff in the mall, so technically you don't need to. But I'm gonna go a little bit more in depth. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt here that you could get a Shopify website for like $1. But my point is, you do not need to have anything major. So Project Yanti, we did that for about 9 months before we actually came up with the name of the company, which is now called Bit Branding. But before that, like I said, it didn't matter. We didn't spend too much time on it. Our job was to go and make money. Otherwise, this thing wasn't gonna last. We were 22, 23 years old at the time. We're like, we still have to make money to be able to quit our jobs. And so we came back to naming the company a little bit later, and I think I'll explain a little bit better in detail here about why it doesn't matter to you right now. Businesses that die in 30 days are not as valuable as ones that stick around for years or decades. And that's what the rest of this video is going to be about, the important parts of starting a brand that will not last this year, but again, the decades to come, and even something you could hand off to family members or friends or kids in the future. You've got to build something bigger than yourself. I think that's truly important, because if you do that, you have a bigger vision. It's something that you can actually gravitate towards versus I'm just chasing the money. It's actually something that you'll stick around with even when it becomes very hard. Again, naming your brand doesn't matter. You could literally pick anything, and guess what? You can rebrand, you could change it all up. The color scheme could change completely. Happens all the time. Pepsi just rebranded. I want you to sell the products before you have them in hand. No, I'm not asking you to do anything unethical. Let me explain. The easiest way to do this is literally sell the products before they're actually in your hand, because then you have no overhead costs. And the last thing I want you to do in 2024 or 2025 or 2030, doesn't matter which year, this applies in general, which is the way we like to create our content anyway, which is more so foundational, which principles of business, not just tactics that could work this year. But more specifically for this year, I want you to not have to spend money out of your pocket, out of hand, to go buy these things. Because I see so many people who talk to us, they're like,
we want to do marketing, we want to join your program.
But I just spent $5,000 or $10,000 or $30,000 on products, and I said, but who are you going to sell them to?
I don't know, I needed the products in hand.
Do not do that. Joe, Frank, Sally, whoever, do not buy those products before you sell them. I know that seems counterintuitive. That's not the point of this video, or actually maybe it is the point of this video. This video is to make you money. But you must first build an audience and get clear on your messaging, and then you do need to create designs. More on that later, but you really need to prove the concept out without wasting money or overhead. It's much easier to build an audience if you know exactly who you're talking to and your product is relevant to them. The last thing you want to do is buy this product or create this product where you think it's great, but nobody else is actually giving you any money to prove that, and no, your cousin or sister, brother, family member, them telling you that it's cool doesn't matter. Now, if they give you money, that's one thing. But if they just tell you that it's cool, that's false confidence. It means you're gonna go spend thousands of dollars and nobody else is gonna buy it. I hope that that's not the case, but let's not. Whether you're a clothing boutique or a streetwear brand, it doesn't matter. Some people are like,
well, I'm a clothing boutique, I need to have these products in hand.
No, you don't.
Well, I'm a streetwear brand, I gotta have this because if I'm gonna sell this.
No, you don't. It's easier to have products in hand. It is absolutely easier, but you do not have to have them in place. And honestly, like I said, let's prove the concept here. So there are hundreds of thousands of those, right? Hundreds of thousands of clothing boutiques. I think there's like 250,000. There's hundreds of thousands of streetwear brands in the United States alone. And if you look and talk exactly like them, you will blend in. In a previous video, we talked about this purple cow, right? Which is, you've got to stand out. And so if you sound just like them and you blend into their world and you don't have a clear message and you don't have your clear marketing, and then you go try to buy products and you spend your own hard-earned money money on these products and you cannot sell them, the business isn't going to last. It doesn't make sense to do all that. This is exactly how I would start building a community today, because the answer is to start a clothing brand in 2024, you need to first build a community, and then we can get into some other stuff. And I'll talk to you about that a little bit later. Maybe you've already built a community. Let's talk about how to take that a little bit more in depth. Stay with me here, and then we'll talk about some other things too. First thing you want to do to build a community is find a place or a platform where your audience is actually at. Have that clear message to that audience. So if I was going after business owners who happen to be, and again, I'll kind of reference back to this, and those of you who watched for a while probably know this, but like a Christian streetwear brand from Texas, I would get very clear on my messaging, and then I'll find out where they're at. Okay, I found out they listen to podcasts. Okay, cool. So I'll do video podcasts talking about Texas and Christianity and bring on guests for that. And I'll do YouTube, and then I'll cut it down into YouTube Shorts, and then I'll distribute that across TikTok, and I'll bring everybody to the site and talk about this community that I'm building, and I'll have them join my email list. But the first thing that I needed to do was have a clear message. Then I need to create content, and you can take that and you can say, I want to do TikTok. Well, great. The best thing you can do on TikTok or Instagram Reels or anything like that is imitate what are other people doing, imitate it for your brand, iterate your own version of it, and then you could innovate eventually. But you could actually build a very successful company just imitating the exact sound, the exact moves, and just doing it for your brand, right? The exact same transitions for your brand. So messaging, content creation, and then what do you want to do? You only own a few pieces of things in the internet, or in the world rather, in your business, which is email and SMS, and you do own some website traffic, but send people to one place and get them on your email list and start sending messages to them to nurture that relationship, letting them know who you are, what your purpose is, why they should care, getting them introduced to you. Send them a text message, and then figure out what is going to happen to your drop date. When are you going to launch? Okay, so we build up this community. I like to do it in a 30-day span, 45-day span, where you're creating a ton of content in that 30 to 45 days, building up an email list. I would love for you to build it to like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 would be amazing if you go more than that. But 1,000, 2,000 people on your email list, a couple hundred to 1,000 on your SMS list. Pick a launch date, and then from that launch date, work backwards to communicate with that audience, continue to post content, and just buy in. Show them about the designs. Again, a little bit more about that a little bit later, but you don't even have to have products in hand. And this isn't even to buy the products. You're still not going to do something. You're going to do a pre-order method. Like all these people who are part of your community who are watching your content, they're going to be engaged, and they're like, yeah, I'll give you the money. I trust you, right? Because you did the nurturing, you created content, brought them in, you added value, then you nurture the relationship. So for sure, a percentage of them are going to give you money ahead of time, and then you use that money. Then once you launch and you have the products, you send them out, and then you do what everybody should do but does not, which is create a referral or affiliate or ambassador program. Because if they like your product, which they should, otherwise they wouldn't buy it, they want to get a deal. And the best way for them to get a deal is like, hey, look, if you become an ambassador and you post about this and you get one person, I'll give you 20% off. Whatever the percentage is, it needs to make sense for your business. And if you do print on demand, or if you do like, you're working with a boutique or an online store that is going to send it to you, your margins may be different. But figure out what you're going to be able to do for an ambassador, and then every purchase that you have them spread that to other people. Then you can order more products. But that's going to give you the influx of cash to sell the products, proven that you can actually make money. And if you can't do that part, don't go buy products. So many people are going to be mad at me in this video. And if you like, this doesn't make sense or whatever, you can leave a comment down below too. I'm completely fine with that. But it doesn't make sense for you to go buy the products. If you can't build a community, this most important piece, getting the products ahead of time isn't going to fix anything. Maybe I'm helping you decide that you can't grow a brand this year. And if nothing else, I want you to be successful, but I also don't want you to just spend thousands of dollars of your hard-earned money on something that isn't going to work. Build the community first, then sell to them. And really, it's not even selling at that point. They're going to raise their hands. They want you to sell to them. I know some people on this YouTube channel, and just depending on where you're watching it, have actually said like, hey, we want to buy some shirts with your name on. I'm like, why? But because we've built an amazing audience, just like you guys are who are watching this right now, is people are just interested in it. So build the community first, sell those products, get those people to become ambassadors, and then repeat the cycle. And then we can talk about designs and driving traffic and stuff, which we can talk a little bit more about that in a second. Hold up just 1 second. I just wanted to say that if you are a clothing brand owner and want to jump into the specifics of your brand on how to grow up profitably online, you can schedule a free 45-minute strategy session. This is a demo. If you're a good fit, then we'll definitely walk you through what our program looks like. There are limited spots spots, so go find a time right now. You can check out the link in the description down below. There are limited spots, so just go do it right now. We built a multi-six-figure company before we ever spent a dime on paid ads. But paid ads will help you grow faster if you get the rest of the pieces of the puzzle in place with a strong foundation. That's what this video is about. How do you start a clothing brand in 2024? And you do it with a strong foundation. This is what you need to make organic content work for your brand. And one word that I have here for you is leverage. What platforms are giving you right now, whether it's 2024 or 2030, it doesn't matter. Leverage shifts. Follow the movement. What are people talking about early on? What are they mentioning? If it's TikTok, or if it's TikTok Shop, or if it's another new app, or if it's Instagram, whatever it is, go where the leverage is. So what I would do right now, because you probably aren't great at creating content, go find your top 3 competitors. Could be in the same niche, could be a completely different niche, doesn't matter, or 3 people who you admire who are creating really good content, and just go see what they're doing. I want you to mimic or imitate their sounds for TikTok, their sounds for Reels, wherever you decide to choose, and leverage that. So mimic them exactly, or imitate them. Steal like an artist, make sure that it's yours. Okay, you're just stealing the style, not exactly everything. I want you to create 3 pieces of short form content per day, if short form works for you. You can do long form. 1 long form piece of content a week will do well, as 2, and then you'll be able to break it down to short form. But 3 pieces of short form content per day across 4 different platforms. Right now, those leveraged platforms are TikTok, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts. That's where you want to be for those 4. So then you're going to create 12 pieces of content, or you're going to distribute 12 pieces of content, 3 new pieces of content per day. And then you're going to distribute that across 30 days. So you're going to create 360 pieces of content. This is when it is going to be your starting point to start to build that community that we just talked about, and then that is what you can use to leverage the growth in your brand. That's going to help you move faster. Most people don't create that much content, and that's the point. Our job is to move quickly, okay? Because if you're going to start a brand, I don't want you to spend the next 6, 7, 8 months trying to get it going. Whether you're watching this at the end of 2024 or 2025 or whenever you're watching this, doesn't matter. Just start now. That's the timeline, right? We're looking at how do we can make this path to making money much faster. So we got to this point, and I told you that you don't need to be a graphic designer to build your brand. And look, if you're a boutique, you could buy from someone else and market, and you could just have a good eye for this for wholesaling or drop shipping. Or if you want to make your own streetwear or graphic tees, then there are 2 ways that I would create designs today without having to be a graphic designer. Number 1 is Midjourney. You could literally prompt this with your own words, coming up with ideas, and just bringing it to life and mocking it up that way. Okay, so Midjourney is an AI tool, and there may be other ones in the future, but it's an AI tool that will take your words and create visuals for it. Then you can take those visuals and you could actually turn them to something like a streetwear brand. So that's a great way to go play. It's free, so go check that out, Midjourney. Now, they may charge it in the future, but I think it's like maybe it's $10 or something, but very low cost. The other option is take your idea, be very articulate about who this is for, and answer all the questions we talked about earlier in this video, and find somebody on Fiverr. Look at the reviews, message them. There's other people in other parts of the world who would do what you need to do, and they'll create designs for you. Those are 2 ways to do it where you don't have to be a designer. Just take your ideas, they need to be your own ideas, take your ideas and then literally go and send them to somebody. One quick tip though is do not start with a lot of options. 2 to 3 products with multiple sizes and colors, like that's plenty. Don't go crazy here. Too many options will actually hurt your sell-through rate in the beginning because people have too many options to choose from, and then they never really actually make a decision. Now you have the keys to start your brand. You need the keys, right? Or step by step of what you need to do to market it. I created exactly what you need to do to have a successful year in growing your brand, whether it's your first 6-figure year, 7-figure year, multiple 7 figures, or even 8 figures. It doesn't matter. You need to go watch this video right here next. All right, y'all, have a great rest of your day. I will see you next time. And P.S., make sure you subscribe.